Well, there's one other aspect Jesus wants us to understand in the proper form of address to God. Notice he starts with Father. This name focuses on the nearness or the imminence of God. He is a God who is near and close to us. But there's more. If we want to understand the entirety of God, Jesus says in the same phrase, "Who art in heaven." God is close to us, but not too close. Two terms might be helpful here. Think of it this way. God's an immanent God who is near and close to us, and God's a transcendent God who exists over and above us. He's our Father, who is immanent and close, who is in heaven, where he is transcendent and above and beyond us. He's our Father, he's near and close, but he's also transcendent. He's wholly other, he's above and beyond us. He's near, but not too near. He's present, but not too present. He's transcendent. He's omnipotent. He's all-powerful. He stands over and above all of creation. He is a big God. My Father has the power to speak the universe into existence ex nihilo, out of nothing, by his very words. Out of his word, he can ignite the sun and scatter the stars into limitless space. He's a very big, all-powerful God who has no limits within him. That's why all things are possible through him. No matter where I find myself or what happens in my life, I know God is in control. I mean, what good would it be to have a very near and close God who I call Father if he didn't have any power over this world? We have a God who is two things at the same time. He's very near and close, and he's very powerful and eternal. That is why he is able to do all things. So Jesus says, when you start your prayers, say, "My Father who is near and close to me, who has all power over my life and the universe." This is who I'm connecting to when I come before God. I think of my prayer time as my time to connect with this God that we've just described. It's a time I set aside to connect with him in a unique and special way. Interestingly, as you will see later, I don't always have the same time each day to connect with God. Sometimes this time varies. That's why connecting with God is sustainable and adaptable. I'll show you that later. It's a difference maker in your prayer life. But for now, remember, our Father, who art in heaven, our near God, our close God, who is all-powerful and all-eternal. This is who I get to connect with every single day of my life. Now, in the context of a very near God who is very powerful, did you know that prayer is primarily designed to change us, not God? Here's something that might be helpful to you when you think of prayer. Sometimes we think that the purpose of prayer is to get God to do things for us. We give him our requests so that he will know what to do and what we think needs to be done. Now, he does tell us to make our requests known to him. He wants us to share our needs and desires with him. He also wants us to know that there's a deeper dimension to prayer. And that's this, that prayer is about changing us, not God. It's the difference between an asking prayer and a changing prayer. In its purest form, prayer is about changing us. That's why our requests are more about changing us than getting something from God. Let me describe the nature of our request to God by understanding the difference between an asking prayer and a changing prayer. An asking prayer goes like this: God, I'm hopelessly in debt. Let me win the lottery. A changing prayer is, God, give me more discipline in how I spend my money. An asking prayer is, God, change my wife, make her more devoted to me. A changing prayer is, God, help me to be more loving and less demanding of her. In our prayer requests, we're primarily concerned with God changing us. It's the primary way we get connected to God. That's why prayer starts with an openness to God changing us. Prayer is the way we get connected to God's way of doing things. It's when we say, okay, God, I've asked for my way. Now it's time to seek your way. So Jesus says, start your prayers by saying, my Father, who is all powerful, I am seeking your way in my life. That's it. It's that simple. It's that powerful. So we have two essentials to help us connect with God. God's letter to me, God's word, where I find inspiration from God. My prayers, my requests, where I find connection to God. Each of these gifts lead to the third essential step or pathway to God. My letter to God, my journal, where I find intimacy with God.